Hello, this is God's servant, and I'm bringing you another presentation in regards to the secret of skull and bones. The secret society, there is clear one eye symbolism. They use the number 322 because of this. This is your DNA, and it consists of two base pairs of 22 or 222. And they want to add a third strand into your DNA. Here's another demonstration of what's called the triple helix, where they add a third strand, turning the DNA into 322. And that's the secret of skull and bones. 44 base pairs in the human, and they'll add two more, which will turn it into 66. Your name's actually, God's name's actually written in your DNA. 10, 5, 6, 5 are the numerical values of YHVH in Hebrew, Yod He Vav He. And here's what happened if you took the magic potion. They added two more cytosine into your DNA, which creates the numerical value 10,5,6665. This is the Queen's Light's first platinum jubilee, where the Queen of England did this ceremony ritual on June 2nd, 2022, otherwise known as 222. Here they are lighting up the triple helix. They bring her the fake globe on a pillow surrounded by a crown because Satan wants to be the king of this world. She pushes it. They have a bunch of light bulbs on the ground spread out in a pattern that if you didn't know what it was, you'd have no idea what was going on. It's the triple helix DNA. So on 2/22, June 2nd, 2022, they lit up the 322, the triple helix, which led right up to the fake tree of life, which looks like DNA, and by the way, also looks like this that I won't go into here. Not allowed to talk about that. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. Psalms 106:39, thus they were defiled with their own works and went a whoring with their own inventions. This is the same lie from the garden, because 1 Corinthians tells us in 3:16 through 17, know ye not that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? And if any man defile the temple, then God's going to destroy them. Psalms 106:29, thus they provoked him to anger with their inventions, and the plague broke upon them. Sound familiar? It's going to get worse. Matthew 24:15, so when you see the abomination of desolation, which was spoken of through Daniel the prophet, standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. God doesn't live in a building. The kingdom of heaven is within. You are the holy place that they want to defile. They want to corrupt. You are the holy temple of God. The holy place is inside of you. This is the Tower of Babel. Look familiar? Looks kind of like the triple helix. So they're trying to tell you that you can live forever. They're going to cure all your woes and ills with this new technology, the fallen angel technology. Notice the angel wings on this symbol. It's called the caduceus. And if you look closely, you'll see the two serpents there. And you'll see that it's actually the triple helix. And then we'll have to talk about the part in Daniel 2:41 where he talks about mixing the iron and the clay. This is the movie Metropolis by Fritz Lang. It came out in 1927. Here we have Beyonce, another celebrity influencer, pretending to be the character from Metropolis. And many celebrities do it. Here we see Osiris slain, the positioning. It's a mockery of Jesus on the cross. Here we see the sun symbolism again for Apollo or Apollyon, the destroyer. The mad scientist wants to transfer the consciousness of this woman into the robot. Sound familiar? Like transhumanism? And does the robot look familiar? Look at the spikes coming out of her head, because that's who it is. It's Apollyon again, the destroyer of your DNA. Here we have X for Osiris risen, or the Antichrist symbol. Here we have the Tower of Babel, actually in the movie Metropolis from 1927. showing the gate of the gods, how these entities come through portals into our reality. Here they actually wrote Moloch out for you in case you weren't getting it. Moloch is the god of child sacrifice, the one they worship at Bohemian Grove. That movie was made in 1927. It's just a coincidence, right? Moloch can also be the horn god. And Fritz Lang used all of those symbols in the movie. It can also mean this, Baal, the horn god, or it can also mean this, the Baphomet, with the owl at the top. That's the flame of knowledge. And they've scrubbed this off the internet. But if you look at the arms of the Baphomet, it says solve and coagula. Solve means the solution. Coagula means blood clots. And you can clearly see the triple helix coming up where his phallus should be. And this is the new disease that's come out that all of the coroners and the embalmers are finding in corpses. It's clotting, white clotting, unnatural clotting, coagula. Here we have another Hollywood influencer pretending to be the Baphomet. And here we have Fritz Lang doing clear one-eye symbolism with a big M on his hand for masonry. Here's Beyonce again. Not only does she pretend to be Metropolis, she pretends to be the Baphomet. And that's the Baphomet. The owl is the Baphomet. It's Moloch. It's all the same. Here she is again pretending to be a transhuman cyborg robot. And here's Fritz Lang with his eye patch on. And here's Madonna with her eye patch paying homage to him, paying homage to the one-eyed God with X on the eye for Osiris risen and V for Venus or peace for the broken cross. Here's Beyonce doing the owl with the pyramid of occult knowledge. Also the 666. They have numerous meanings in their symbols, and they're making the pyramid on their forehead, the pyramid that we all see with the eyeball in it, which also represents Moloch, the owl of wisdom. Here's Beyonce. She's just not putting the owl over her face this time. That's what they mean when they hold up two hands. Here she is doing 666, the owl and wisdom. Here she's doing hidden occult knowledge. What knowledge? The knowledge of Lucifer, the knowledge of the one eye of Lucifer in the pyramid. And here we have it on our very own dollar bill, because the people that founded this country were Freemasons and they're all evil. Here it's going all the way back to ancient Sumer on Inanna's forehead. Yes, that's right. She's got the pyramid of occult knowledge and the horned god right on her head too. See the sun rays coming out of the eye? It's Apollyon. Here we go. Again, another version of Apollyon. Another version of Moloch. It's all the same thing. Take a close look at this picture. Solve and coagula. He's got the triple helix coming out of his pants. He's got the owl of Moloch on top of his head. Who's this, you might ask? Well, this is the first whore of Babylon, Semiramis. She was the wife of Nimrod. And if you think it's a coincidence that this artwork is depicting her as the triple helix, it's not. Look at the crown. Look familiar? Kind of look like the Statue of Liberty. The sun rays shooting out of the head, just like Apollyon the Destroyer. Yeah, just like this. This is exactly what they want. They want a human being that they can control. And as I said, she was a real person. She was the wife of Nimrod, who built the Tower of Babel. And the fallen angels and demonic spirits, they're androgynes. They don't have any sex. They can be both sexes at once. They can be one sex or the other. This is Columbia, which is actually Semiramis holding the torch of Nimrod. And here's Semiramis with her baby. The mother and child was never Jesus and Mary. It's Semiramis and Tammuz. Because Semiramis, Nimrod, and Tammuz are the false trinity. Because all they do is copy God. God's not a woman. The Holy Spirit's not a female. Jesus isn't a consciousness or an ascended master. He's God. Nimrod is Santa Claus in our society. That's right. Nimrod lives up at the North Pole where actually God's throne is. That's what the Northern Lights are. They're the Emerald Sea that it talks about in the Bible at the throne of God. Those are other images of the fake Trinity, and you clearly see Moloch and a baby, a child sacrifice. That's what. Sorry, the recording cut off. I showed you in the last video that was not Virgin Mary. That's Semiramis. It's Columbia. So here's your DNA again. And what they want to do with it, they want to add the third strand to your DNA. And here's Beyonce again, in case you didn't see it before. These people in Hollywood are all in this cult. And this cult goes all the way back to the very beginning after the flood. Because Babylon was started by Ham, which is Noah's son. Here's Beyonce on the red horse of war with Saturn earrings. And here's when Beyonce's ex-drummer reported that she was into extreme witchcraft. Here she is in her new video with a dragon over one eye. Maybe it's the eye of Osiris, the eye of Horus. How much one-eyed symbolism do you need to see before you wake up and you realize that there really is something going on that you're not privy to? They don't want anyone talking about this because they didn't think that you would ever find out. They were so blatant. If you have a triple helix, it's 660 times 6. This slide talks about the two-strand DNA. Each strand has 72,000 cells. And 72,000 times 2 is 144,000. But times 3, it adds up to 600 times 60 times 6. It adds up to 216,000. That's 600 times 60 times 6. Let he who has understanding reckon the number of the beast, for it's a human number. Here we have another component that was in the magic potion, and it's called graphene oxide. And also we have cytosine. I spoke about that before. And cytosine comes from meteors. So does graphene oxide. I can't say it because they don't let me. Cytosine has a numerical value of 6, and it also contains iron. And it talks about in the scripture the mixing of the iron and clay, which I mentioned before. This is what they're talking about. They're mixing celestial bodies. It says in Daniel 2:43, and whereas thou sawest the mixing of the iron and clay. Here in Revelation, it says that your name won't be found in the book of life because they changed your book of life. And you'll be cast into the fire. And God declares the end from the beginning. The mixing of the iron and clay has to do with the graphene oxide and the nanoparticles, the iron nanoparticles. And the cytosine comes from meteors, which are actually fallen angels. It talks about the celestial bodies. The Queen's Lights Platinum Jubilee was a big ceremony letting you know that they're getting ready to spring that triple helix technology on the world. Here it is in an image where they actually have it as a serpent, the gold serpent. Here's some more programming from the past. This is the bionic man, and you can clearly see the one-eye symbolism with the rays shooting out of his eye, the sun rays. He's warming you up to the idea of cyborgs, and he's doing fake space with NASA on his outfit because they have to get rid of God out of the picture. They have to tell you there's a universe out there. They can't tell you that God is the creator of heaven and earth. They want you to believe in fake space. Look at his jacket. It says Apollo right on it. Apollo, the destroyer. There's Apollo. He's the one that's coming out of the bottomless pit at the end of the world. There's Apollo again. Only here he's Artemis because, as I told you, they changed sexes. Look at the hand position. It's an M for masonry. Here he is again, wearing all his fake space patches. And in this next slide, he's doing a sneaky Osiris Risen. That's Lee Majors from the Bionic Man, the $6 million man. And here he has X for Osiris Risen. The light just doesn't shine like that over his shoulder. That was added in, just like this one was added in. Here's Beyonce doing fake space with the El Diablo on her hand, programming your mind to believe in things that aren't real. Here's a collage of a bunch of astronauts. Look at his hand. Would they all do that? Is everything A-okay? Did they all make a three-pointer? How about Buzz Aldrin doing it over his eye for hidden occult wisdom, for knowledge? And here we have Chris Hadfield with the big eye right behind his head. And here we have the big eye with the sun rays of Apollo shooting out, the same thing as the Baphomet. Here's poor Steve Austin, the $6 million man, when his eye got poked out and he became one-eyed. What was he? Well, I'll tell you what he was. He was the worthless shepherd. He's the one-eyed shepherd, the Antichrist. He's the shepherd that just leaves his sheep behind, because Jesus is the good shepherd. He's the one who lays down his life for the sheep. Jesus said, I am the good shepherd, giveth his life for the sheep. But he is that a hireling and not the shepherd who own the sheep are not seen the wolf coming, and he leaves the sheep behind. This has been God's servant with another presentation. And this is a hard message to hear. This is meat. It's definitely not milk. God bless you in Jesus' mighty name.